It's news time. Information is power. Be current. The news headline. Nothing worth celebrating. Igbo presidency won't put food on people's table. Peter Obi, the former Anambra State governor and vice presidential candidate at the 2019 election, Peter Obi, disclosed that Nigeria, marking its 61st independence anniversary, has given people much to celebrate, citing insecurity and poor economic performance of the Buhari administration. Peter Obi, who disclosed this in an exclusive interview with the Niche Nigeria, reported on Saturday, discussing the economy, the debt trap, and the 2023 presidency. The former governor also said in a separate social media statement on Saturday that a father must leave a better place for the children, making sacrifices to make life better for them, as that is what leadership should be about. For me, it is more of a reflection. There is nothing to celebrate. Yes, we are 61, but we are worse off today than we were in the 1960s. Peter Obi cited that over the years there has been a failure of leadership, highlighting that Nigeria's leader over the years were not visionary and not willing to make sacrifices. First, is it that we need to look back at our leadership selection process? It is a critical thing. We need to start a proper leadership selection process that will throw up people who are competent, have the capacity, and above all, the integrity and ability to sacrifice in building a better future for the country, he said. On the 2023 elections and power shift to the south, Peter Obi said that economic development discussions are more fundamental than all those things. We need to make the country productive. At the present, the country is not productive. We need to restructure it and make it work, he remarked. He added that personally, he supports that each zone should have a chance of producing the president. However, there are more important things, including taking decisions on the several schools that are closed in the north. I do not see them being aggressive about how to make the country productive, where the president, unless we have a leadership that is competent. He also added that zoning the presidency to the southeast will not automatically fix issues in the region, stating that it is not as if you will pick a president from one zone, automatically everything goes right. So let us discuss the issue of insecurity, issue of economy, so that people can get jobs. We in the southeast want the presidency. We want to produce the next president, but is it going to be automatic that once you give it to us, there will be food on people's table? No. So, while this is being addressed, let's talk about the country, the survival of the country, fixing that engine, not talking of or hiring a driver yet, because the engine has a problem. On the economy, he warned that Nigeria was on the verge of collapse, adding that we are back in a debt trap. The country is not productive. The components that make the economy work are not there. The GDP, gross domestic product, is not growing. The per capita is not growing more, and more people are being thrown into poverty every day. You have insecurity. Nobody is going to farm. Inflation is on the rise. Prices of goods are rising. Nigerians who are lucky to have work now spend over 100% of their salary on feeding. So, you have a crisis. It is not fear, it is real. You could see it in the streets, you could see it everywhere. He further stated from January to May, our total revenue was about 1.845 trillion naira. Our expenditure within that period was 4.812 trillion naira. Our borrowing to support was about 3 trillion naira. Our total servicing of debt was about 1.802 trillion naira. So in fact, if you minus revenue and those and the ones we used to service debt, we have only about 40 billion in actual net revenue receipts. He also warned that the national debt discussion should be focused on debt to revenue, not debt to GDP, citing that when your revenue is low, then there is actually a problem. Therefore, he says that there is nothing to celebrate, that these old issues and panoramas actually calls for reflection rather than celebration. That how do we build the future? That is what we should actually be reflecting on, because now we need to look back at our leadership selection process, because that is one critical thing that we are actually lacking. We need to start to properly check very well before we select any leader, and that will throw up people who are competent, have the capacity, and above all the integrity and ability to sacrifice in building a better future for the country. Peter Obi stated that the economic development discussions are actually important, but most times we are not ready as a country to discuss this and look for rational solutions in making sure that we get stabilized. He says that the country needs to be more productive, and that at the present it is not at all, that we need to restructure it and make it work. He also added that about the producing of presidents, that there are important things that needs to be talked about, that saying that the decisions on several schools that are closed in the north, that I do not see them as being aggressive, but how to make the country productive. Where the president comes from cannot change anything unless we have a leadership that is actually competent. That the zoning of presidency to the southeast will not automatically fix the issues in the region, stating that it is not as if anyone picks a president from a particular zone, everything is going to be all right. That we just need to ensure that we talk about how to make this work, and we'll get a good leader who is ready to make the sacrifices and who has vision and willingness to take Nigeria to the next height, saying that personally he supports that each zone should have a chance of producing the president. However, we need to ensure that this selection process is actually justified, saying that in the issue of insecurity and economy, the people of the southeast want presidency and they want to produce the next president, but is it going to be automatic that once you give it to them, there will be food on people's table? No, saying that what we just need to talk about now is the survival of the country and fixing the engine, and not talking about hiring a driver, yet the engine actually has a problem, saying that the GDP of the country is not growing, that we are being thrown into poverty every now and then, and that the prices of goods are rising, saying that Nigerians are lucky to have work and now spend over 100% of their salary on feeding. And so you have a crisis, and this is not to scare anyone, but a reality, as everybody can see it on the streets and we can see it everywhere. Thanks for listening.